Hello, everyone. Today we are here with CreepyPastaDoll.
Hello.
Is there anything you'd like to say before we get started?
Um, Greetings everyone. Thank you for having me, Cabot. This is a really cool opportunity. Actually, I've never been interviewed before. So, yeah.
It's my pleasure. All right. We have a few different sets of questions for you. The first set will be to you as a narrator.
Let's
How
do
did you
this.
come?
Sorry.
How did you? It's all good. Okay. How did you come up with your channel name?
So, I believe the first scary story that I'd ever, at least that I remember hearing in my life, was one. It's that really cheesy and cliche one that you hear is like, oh, there's this girl and she gets this doll for her birthday, or somehow she gets a doll, and then basically the doll is trying to kill everyone in the family. And for some reason, I was like maybe 10 when I heard this story. I was so scared. I actually didn't sleep, and so that's probably why that story is so imprinted into my memory. And so when I first thought, I should start a channel where I tell scary stories to people on the internet, and I was just like, oh yeah, I'll just do this. This kind of has a little bit of meaning in my life, and so why not? It is kind of cheesy though, now that I think about it, but still, it is what it is.
How did your persona come to be?
um, Really, I just I saw pictures of like DeviantArt style pictures. I don't actually know if they were from DeviantArt, but you just kind of get that vibe where you kind of think of like a bunch of um like angsty teenagers. They draw the Jack Skellington-esque stuff, and I guess it kind of fit what I was going for. So I just kind of put on some makeup, and there it was. So yeah, not too interesting, but you know.
How has narrating changed you?
Changed me personally. Well, when I first started out narrating, it wasn't really something that I actually would that I considered to be something for. I thought it was just going to be a fun little side thing to do. And I guess to an extent it still kind of is. I don't really make money off this or anything, but it did get me into voice acting as a whole, and I think it's for that reason that it's still kind of important to me, and you know, it kind of cemented a whole like a facet of my life, if that makes any sense. So yeah.
How has narrating changed your life?
Well, I feel like the answer to those two questions are kind of one and the same. They've impacted the career choices and things of that nature. I I started narrating audiobooks, or really I should say I've only narrated one so far, and that's still kind of in the works, but you know, it's a tad important to me anyway, so yeah. Keeps ending my sentences with so yeah, I should probably stop doing that.
That's all good. Why did you start narrating?
Um, when I was around 13, I remember stumbling across this guy's YouTube channel, and well, really, I was on the weird side of the internet, and I stumbled across this video entitled "The Weird Side of the Internet," and it was this guy narrating this story with that title, and to this day I can't find that story anywhere. And it's kind of a side note, but if I ever find it, I'll probably narrate it on my channel because that's kind of what initially got me into everything. And so I just started watching this guy's channel. He was called Evil Creepypasta, and I don't think he makes videos anymore, which is really unfortunate because he used to scare the shit out of me when I was really young. And yeah, that's kind of how I got into there. And then I started watching people like Creepy Rainbow Pasta, and then that slowly went on to, you know, Mr. Creepypasta and Creeps, and you know, it just kind of branched off from there.
What creepypasta do you want to narrate, but are having trouble doing so?
Um, Having trouble doing so, I wouldn't say is really the case. It's mostly just me being a lazy piece of shit.
Hmm.
But a story I've been really wanting to narrate for the longest time, I actually just finished, which I'm actually really proud of. But there's another one called How I Escaped from a Cult, and that one I'm probably going to be narrating relatively soon. I kind of have a list of stories that I like have bookmarked and things of that nature. So that's probably going to be coming soon. At least I hope so.
What creepypasta has made an impact on your life?
I'd probably say the one that initially got me into creepypasta. So yeah, the weird side of YouTube. I guess yeah.
What creepypasta will you not narrate?
Um. Okay, so this one is probably going to be throwing a lot of shade at kind of the I wouldn't even say the stereotypes of like creepypasta community, but just certain aspects of it. Anything related to My Little Pony or Pokemon, which is kind of, I mean, hypocritical because I've narrated one creepypasta from Pokemon, and that was Lavender Town Syndrome. I was like 13, but there's just so many of them. Oh, Jeff the Killer. Sorry, it's just way too overdone. And Five Nights at Freddy's. I try not to do a lot of popular stuff because it's done by everyone and it's I'm just such a absurd no, but in all seriousness, I kind of like to do some of the lesser known ones to kind of make them a little bit more popular because I mean, it's fun to just find those little rare gems and then, yeah, that's just how I feel about that. So, yeah.
Um, the next set of questions is for you as a writer.
I
Which creepypasta do you wish you had been the one to write?
okay, there's actually a few. I might not be able to list all of them off the top of my head, but really, a lot of the works by people like Aaron Shotwell and Slime Beast, when I was like first getting into creepypasta and all that stuff, I remember hearing some of the narrations of the stories of those two writers, and so stories like basically the Abandoned by Disney trilogy, I kind of wish that I had written because that's pretty fucking awesome in my opinion. I thought the whole thing was really cool, and I still think it's really cool personally. Also, The Contract. That's probably a big one. I really really like that story. But yeah, yeah.
Who are your favorite creepypasta writers?
Um, Slime Beast, Aaron Shotwell, The Itch. Um, I post at midnight. I could go on and on. I should probably make a separate video at like just talking about some of the writers that I think are really good at what they do and things like that. I've noticed that a lot of the really good stories or the ones that are that actually kind of scared me or maybe not scared me because at this point it's gotten to the point where I'm desensitized to most stuff. Maybe not because of creepypasta on its own, but really not much scares me anymore. But that I thought were really interesting. They're all from Reddit, and I don't really have a Reddit, so it's not like I'm I- I'm not a hardcore Reddit user. I just really like the no sleep stories a lot. So yeah,
Why did you start writing?
I've been writing. I mean, I've been writing for a really long time, and I always thought that horror was really interesting. I'd consider myself a bit of a horror fan, really. But writing, I guess what started me writing creepypastas and things like that. I don't do it that much, but when I do, I I do essentially. And I guess it's just because it's fun. That's the simplest answer I could give. It's just I'm not good at drawing or anything like that, so it's like my creative expression in that regard, if that makes any sense.
Hmm. Which creepypasta are you most proud of writing?
Um, a lot of the stories that I write are typically I typically narrate them, or in the past I've had some other people narrate them, and the Creepy Dark, who I would consider myself relatively good friends with. We haven't talked in a while, but that's just neither here nor there. But he narrated a story I wrote called Janelle, and it's kind of long, but I'm still kind of proud of that one. I guess if needed, I could potentially link that one, but I don't know if that's necessary. If you guys want to listen to it, just check out the Creepy Darks channel or something.
What is the story behind From the Heart?
Oh, honestly, I told you this already, but I honestly genuinely forgot that I even wrote that story because it wasn't really I never really considered it a story. It was just kind of a goofy little thing. I'm like, huh, it's kind of a dark humor, but not I wouldn't even consider that funny in retrospect, but for those of you who aren't familiar, I wrote a story, like a tiny little micropasta, I guess it could be considered that, about this person who gets a birthday gift literally from the heart. Someone actually rips their heart out and presents it to this person right in front of them. Yeah, I kind of just spoiled the entire thing, but basically, one of my friends, like a day prior, she was just like, dude, man, what do you want for your birthday? I'm like, I don't really know, just get whatever. And so suddenly, at that moment, it chimes in. I should say something cheesy as hell and just try to make it funny, even though I wouldn't consider myself that funny of an individual. But I was just like, why don't you just get me something from the heart? And then she she pretends to rip out her heart in front of the entire bus because yes, we were riding home, and it really isn't that funny in retrospect, but at the time I thought it was pretty funny, and so hence why that exists. So
What is the earliest story you remember writing?
earliest story I remember writing in terms of creepypasta related stuff or in general. I
In
don't remember.
general, just absolute earliest.
Absolute earliest story I remember writing. I think it was maybe 10, and there was there's this guy in my class who I really, really hated. Like, he was just the biggest asshole. Oh God, I was kind of an angsty 10-year-old, and so I remember writing this story about this kid that I really didn't like that much, and I guess it could be considered horror, but really I was just kind of expressing my hatred for this kid and I'm gonna leave unnamed because, well, for obvious reasons. But I remember, I don't exactly remember how it ended, but basically he kind of, I think he gets murdered or something. I don't even remember if I still have it, but I might. And if I find it, I could possibly narrate it, but I really don't think that's a good idea. But so yeah, that's a thing that happened. Embarrassing childhood stories.
Hmm. What story are you currently working on?
Um, what am I currently working on? I've been trying to. I've I really wanted to write a story that had some basis in reality, because personally, the scariest things in general, the scariest things are the things that have either A happened in real life or B can happen in real life. So, or are happening, I suppose it could be in all three of those ways. But basically, it's reality that in my opinion, is the scariest thing. That's why you should never leave the house. But I was researching like mysterious murders and stuff like that, and one of them was about this man, this German man who died mysteriously in his car. And when I say mysteriously, like it wasn't like he died in a car crash. Like they found his car crashed into like a ditch, but he had wounds and he was basically killed prior to the crash, put back in his car, and then somehow managed to end up in the side of the road. And there's a few more mysterious things that kind of happened surrounding that incident, but to this day no one really knows what happened. And uh, I'll probably be narrating that soon, as soon as I kind of finish writing it. I tried to make it as accurate as possible, but yeah, yeah, I've never really written a story like that before, so hopefully this one turns out to be decent. So, yeah.
Where do you see yourself going with your writing career?
Um, I mean, really, I haven't considered myself like writing to me in the same sense that creepypasta is. They're basically more like hobbies for now, but I'm not closed off to the idea of being a writer. Same thing with voice acting or anything like that. It's a lot of fun for me, and I enjoy using both of those things as an outlet for creative expression, and I, basically I'm not closed off to the idea. That's the simplest way I can answer that without going off on a tangent.
Well, that is it for the writer questions. The next set is for you and your involvement as a narrator of audiobooks.
Yeah.
How did you get into narrating audiobooks?
Well, when I think it was like last summer maybe, I was still kind of getting into the whole voice acting thing, and I was thinking, is there a way I could possibly make money off of this, just as a kind of experimental thing? And I got in contact with this guy who happened to live in the state that I currently reside in, which I will not disclose. And he was like, okay, so there's this site called ACX, and it's supported by Amazon, and it's basically where a bunch of voice actors go to find audiobooks to narrate. Like they'll have authors that are looking for audiobook narrators, and then you submit auditions or you get offers or something like that, and then you basically do the narrating thing and you agree on a contract, or not agree on a you agree with you know what I mean. I'm not really good at explaining things.
Mhm.
But yeah, so that happened. I kind of had to narrate and edit everything myself. So yeah, it's still kind of a work in progress right now, so yeah.
Would you like to tell us about the book you narrated?
It's called Irradiated. It's think of it as like Mad Max, but not at all. That makes no sense. Basically, it's like post-apocalyptic Australia, and there are people who they suffered from some kind of radiation mutations, and they've basically evolved into a different kind of people. And I don't want to give too much away because I actually really like this story and I think it's really interesting. It's kind of an I think it's an interesting take on the whole post-apocalyptic thing, because you're used to seeing young adult novels where like, oh, there's either zombies, a totalitarian government that controls everything and oppresses the people, or both. Maze Runner, what? So yeah, I just thought it was kind of interesting, and I've said that word too much in that sentence. Crap. But yeah, that's all I have to
Fun.
say on that.
Well, you've already touched on it, but would you like to elaborate more on why you chose that book specifically?
Um, at that point in time, I was kind of basically going around auditioning for a lot of things, and I've noticed that a lot of the young adult novels are basically rip-offs of John Green novels. And when I say John Green novels, I'm not just talking about like Fault in Our Stars. Like I'm talking basically the whole cheesiness. Not to throw any shade at John Green, because I actually did kind of enjoy Fault in Our Stars. Yes, I know that's kind of a shameful thing, but sue me. But yeah, I don't typically enjoy young adult novels that often because they're kind of cheesy, and so I was happy to find something that had a similar premise but a slightly different take on it, if that makes any sense. So, yeah.
And what is the difference between narrating for creepypasta and an audiobook?
Well, obvious difference would probably be length. Like it takes a lot more time and effort in editing a short, or I guess comparatively short, if you're talking about like 15-minute stories or 20-minute stories. Those are, relatively long, but you're narrating like hour-long books. The one I actually did was like roughly 5 to 6 hours long, or is 5 to 6 hours long, and it took me a really long time to edit all the chapters and all that. Oh yeah, and you have to edit all of the chapters separately, so you have to have like individual files. That's also a thing. Um, Another thing is production value. They put a lot of emphasis on editing, and like I know there are like narrators in the community that do put a lot of effort into their videos, and they go the extra mile to make their audio quality sound better, to put like really good music and put visuals like CreepyPasta does, for example. I know he's not the only one, but he's just the first person that comes to mind. Um, and that's all really cool. But the thing is, you're getting paid to narrate things like that, and it's kind of seriously. Really, really? You did this right now? I apologize for that. Anyway,
No.
but yeah, basically, it's the whole thing where it's re- it's really really important to make sure your sound quality is really good, because yeah, it's a capitalist society that we live in. But yeah, that's the biggest thing I'd say.
Did you get paid for the book that you did?
Yes, actually. Granted, I mean, I don't want to go super into detail because it's not like the most important thing, and I don't entirely remember if this is supposed to be confidential, but just uh, for reasons regarding conventional social stuff, I'm not making sense. But yes, and that'll probably be happening soon because well, it's not actually out yet, so yeah.
All right. The next set of questions is for you. Basically, it's music questions.
It's for
So
me. Oh my god.
it's it's singing and instruments, and so it's just general music questions.
Huh. All right.
What does music mean to you?
Music, it's kind of always been there my entire life, so it's like a touch of nostalgia, but at the same time, it's a big part of who I am. I know that sounds really cheesy, but I can't think of a more accurate way to describe it. So yeah,
When did you get into singing?
I'd say probably around the Disney princess stage of my life. Like I'd say between the ages of like 0 and 3. I know it's like a stereotypical thing, and plus, I mean, I'm still technically in the Disney phase in general, maybe not specifically princesses, but come on, it's Disney. But yeah, I'd say that's probably an accurate time frame of when I started getting into music and singing and all that.
What genre of music do you like to sing?
That's that's a good question because I don't entirely have a set preference. I can't really do anything. I can't scream, so that kind of takes like screamo and metal and all that stuff out of a picture. Not that I don't like any of that stuff. It's just I can't sing it personally. It can range from like classic Broadway to pop music, so it's kind of hard to discern what my music tastes are, really. So, yeah, yeah.
When did you get into playing instruments?
Um, I think the first instrument I learned how to play was piano because I've always had a piano in my house, and you know it was just kind of there conveniently. And so I remember my mom teaching me a few songs in the beginning, and then actually taking piano lessons like later on, and that was about 4 years ago when I actually started taking lessons. And so yeah, that was kind of the breakthrough into that. And then guitar like 3 years, and ukulele is also like 3 years. Yeah, I know I play ukulele. I'm such a hipster.
Um, what are all the instruments that you do play?
The three that I mentioned, guitar, piano, ukulele. I did used to play flute though when I was in middle school band, but I that didn't last long. So I don't think that counts.
A little bit. Out of those, which one is your favorite to play?
Uh, I don't want to disgrace my children, but I don't really know. I guess it depends on the song. I'd say the most amount of songs that I know how to play are on my guitar, mostly because like you can find guitar tabs anywhere on the internet and things like that. So, yeah, but like, to be fair, piano is a relatively complicated instrument in comparison. At least in my opinion, it is. So, yeah, um, that's a thing.
Will you sing for us?
Cabot, I kind of done goofed, and I told you I was gonna have a ukulele close by. It's kind of upstairs, and I know we talked about this, and I feel really bad, but I really don't want you to like stall for very long. I won't be very long. If you want me to go up and get it real quick, I can. If not, then I didn't really have anything else prepared, but I could try wing it on the spot. So I hope that's not too much of a problem.
Hey,
Cries.
I can stall if you need, or you can just sing something off the top of your head, or whatever you would like to do.
Uh, okay. I'm not very good at winging it, so I'll probably just. I will be back in less than like 2 minutes, so yeah. I will be right back. I'm so sorry. Cries.
It's all good. All right. While she is gone, I will go ahead and take this opportunity to, in the description below is a link to her channel. So make sure you go and do that and like and comment and subscribe to her channel. And also, check out other narrators for, narrations of stories that she's done, as she mentioned, Creepy Dark. And then also, um, she has a Twitter, so make sure to also go check out her Twitter so you can get all the latest updates and all of those things.
I apologize for my brief absence.
Hey, no worries. I was able to stall.
Alright, well that's pretty good. Yeah, I it'd be a lot more preparation if I'd brought my guitar down, so I just kind of, I figured this would probably be the best idea. For those of you who aren't familiar with the song You and I by Ingrid Michaelson, Google it. I'm not here to educate you. Anyway, frick. Don't you worry there, my honey, we might not have any money, but we've got a love to pay the bills. Now maybe I think you're cute and funny, maybe I wanna do what buddies do with you, if you know what I mean. Oh, let's get rich and buy our parents' homes in the south of France. Let's get rich and give everybody nice sweaters and teach them how to dance. Let's get rich and build a house on a mountain, making everybody look like ants. From way up there, you and I, you and I.
That was really good. That was really beautiful.
Thank you. One of my favorite songs, I'm not gonna lie. It kind of fluctuates every day though, so.
Well, we are on the last question for you.
Alright.
What is a fun fact about yourself?
Fun facts. I can write with both hands.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. I'm ambidextrous. It kind of comes in handy when playing instruments most of the time, but yeah, I'm just gonna. Girls might be able to relate to this more than guys, but you have no idea the struggle of trying to put on eyeliner in the morning with your non-dominant hand. So, I used to kind of, uh, I should probably elaborate. I wasn't exactly born, ambidextrous. It kind of just slowly developed after a while, and so when I first learned how to put on makeup, it was a real struggle. So, it took me a while to kind of figure out how to, um, how to put on eyeliner with my right hand, because that's kind of my non-dominant hand. So yeah, that is, I guess it's a fun fact. I guess fun is the key word in that sentence. So yeah.
Well, is there anything you'd like to say before we wrap this up?
Um, Thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Cabot, for having me on again. This is really cool. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Okay. No, as I mentioned before, but I'll go ahead and say it again. Make sure you go to our channel and like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you very much for joining me today. And I guess that is it for now. So bye, everyone.
Bye.